Hey there, crypto traders and investors. It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ Stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Today is Sunday. Hope you're well. It's April 20th. Happy 420 for those that celebrate. And in this video, we're going to do another rapid fire news update, this time for the period April 12th to the 18th. And again, it's just a high level overview in case you missed it, and you can dig into it more on your own time. Before we get to it, make sure to smash the like, tick the bell, all that good stuff. Subscribe, you'll be notified on any future videos. And as always, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. You can follow us over on X as well, formerly Twitter. Handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. Jumping right into the news, Trump administration is potentially planning to buy Bitcoin using tariff revenue as BTC eyes 90K mark. And he also said that there's a chance that the money from tariffs could be so great that it would replace income tax. Imagine if the middle, and it might not be for everybody, right? It might be like the middle class or anybody making less than $150,000 a year, but that's the majority of people. I think that would be huge. And imagine if we didn't have any income tax anymore in the United States, and if it went to other countries as well. I'm from Canada. If that were to happen, even just if it happened in the United States, there'd be so much money coming into the market, especially initially, just with the expectation of how bullish that would be, right? Because if people aren't paying 40 or 30% of their annual salary to taxes anymore, well, that's a lot more money that could enter the markets. So we very well could see this be kind of that blow off top moment if this were to happen. Just be careful that they use this as a potential to suck everybody in at the last moment. But that would be huge if true. There was also some more information coming pertaining to that in just a moment, a little bit later on in the video. But ProShares has filed with the SEC to launch XRP ETFs. We know that there's a flurry of them. I think there was like 18 or something like that the last time I checked. And then we also have Solana ETFs in the US. There's been analysts saying that they believe XRP more than likely will come first, but there was news that Solana ETFs are going live in Canada. That's going to front run the US and also front running XRP. There's one pending for XRP in Canada at the moment, but Solana did beat them to it. Also, speaking of XRP, the parties in the Ripple lawsuit, which is arguing that XRP in and of itself was a security. We know that the judge ruled that Ripple was right. It's not actually a security in and of itself. They mentioned on exchanges, secondary sales, etc. Now they're still battling out the rest, but as of right now, it's on pause. So essentially, the court granted an abeyance to basically put it on hold and hold the appeal, and basically put it on pause for 60 days until they figure out a settlement. So we should get an update. Could be really any week now, any day, with regards to, and everybody's like, "What? I thought this was over," but we never actually had an official resolution. We just had Ripple holding their appeal. And then this news came in literally hours on the 16th. And that's when Ripple had until the end of April 16th to file that brief in the appellate court. But as of right now, no need to do that. It was right down to the wire, but the U.S. Court of Appeals did get that out and basically said we're going to pause that. So we should see an update at some point soon. Also, Ripple and Hashkey have launched a new tracker fund in Hong Kong, and this gives more institutional access. So institutions have direct exposure to XRP without needing wallets or custody. So that's huge. This fund allows monthly redemptions and aims to reshape crypto access in Asia. Love to see it. Also, Ripple owned Hidden Road. I mentioned this in the last news update. They secured a FINRA broker-dealer license, expanding its fixed income capabilities after the $1.25 billion acquisition, one of the largest in the crypto space. And this is going to be an interesting acquisition when it's all said and done. It's literally the Amazon of crypto forming right before our eyes, and that is none other than Ripple, and not to be conflated with XRP, the digital currency. We're talking about the private company. Ripple has a board of directors, the CEO, etc., something that XRP does not have. Also, just in, Coinbase is set to launch XRP derivatives that will go live in less than 24 hours. So this is uber bullish. We know that a lot of the derivative products, the futures-based products, they get launched first, which happened. XRP had its first leveraged ETF, and that just means that it's not spot, so it's not actually buying the underlying asset, in this case XRP. It's just betting on the future price of an asset. So it's a futures based, it's not spot based. Spot based, they actually have to hold it in reserves. So that'll be coming in due course. MicroStrategy acquires another 3,459 bitcoins for 285.8 million. They're now reaching a total holding of 531,644 Bitcoin. Is that considered a whale? Asking for a friend. Maybe we create a different term for that, because that's wow, insane. That I cringe when I see this. I just think it's very irresponsible. I don't think that it's going to end well. Hopefully it does, but it's either going to be hero or zero. And we do know that Michael Saylor, the founder of MicroStrategy, he was actually one of the biggest losers, if not the biggest loser, in the .com days. So yeah, I pray, because I don't own any Bitcoin anymore. I sold it. I happily sold it. I made a lot of money off of it, and for me to hold it with all these uncertainties, what happens whenever MicroStrategy stops buying? What happens when all these other things that happen? Could Satoshi ever be exposed? There was actually a lawsuit by a Meta lawman. He's suing the U.S. government to find out who Satoshi is, because they know information. Homeland Security. There was a clip from personnel of Homeland Security saying they met with the four Satoshis. So we'll see what happens. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of uncertainty there. And as we know, the market doesn't like uncertainty. It's not an issue right now, but it could eventually become a problem down the road. So I really hope it ends well. And yeah, we don't see the biggest collapse in history, because if just imagine if it was found out that Satoshi was, God forbid, it was some sort of terrorist group or something like that, right? Like, we just don't know. It could be a mix of governments as well, which I think is the most likely scenario. But at the end of the day, we just don't know. So there's always that uncertainty over people's heads, and people are saying, why not just give him or her the privacy? Why do we have to know who it is? Well, it's gonna come out eventually, and I can't remember who said it, but I was watching someone speak this week, and they basically said, with the help of AI now, it's going to be very, very difficult to keep your identity hidden, because AI is we're going to have a trace for everything, right? So eventually AI will be able to trace everything back and confirm identities for pretty much everybody who has any kind of trace online, right? So it's going to be very difficult to continue to keep that under the radar. Also, legendary trader Peter Brandt says that Ethereum, he can basically summarize it in 2 words, and he says worthless junk. I wouldn't say it's worthless. I would say it's junk. I'm not a big fan of Ethereum. The insane gas fees. It's just not. It's inflationary, so they're adding to the supply, and we know that there's a lot of different ties to different organizations in China. And anyways, I won't get into it. But if you haven't seen the new movie, the new XRP movie, it was called XRP Unleashed, and then it was called they changed the name. I forget what it was, but anyways, watch that new video. Rig from the start. That's what it is, and it's very damning what you can see how Ethereum was founded. There was even some co-founders and people who were involved in the ICO, the initial coin offering, who were whistleblowers and basically saying that this is pretty shady. So I think Ethereum, I think Ethereum was a prototype. I don't think it was scaled. It had the opportunity to scale. Like, I think it was basically rigged from the start, like they say, and doomed, because it's just not a solution for the future, in my opinion. We see all these other, different L1s, and I still think XRP, probably going to be the number one chain when it's all said and done. But Ethereum, who knows? We'll see if it has staying power. I'm kind of like Bitcoin. Bitcoin, we don't know who it is that created it. And then Ethereum has some pretty sketchy ties in the way it was created. So we'll see what happens. I don't think they're going to kill it, though. I think they will allow it to survive. I just think there's a lot of better projects out there, like technology, etc. So we'll see what happens. But speaking of Ethereum, family offices show stronger preference for Ethereum ETFs over Bitcoin. I think that's just because of price, right? People look at Bitcoin, they're like, oh, especially in Canada, it's like over 100,000 Canadian dollars per one Bitcoin. So people are like, okay, well, what's second best, essentially, right? And then people are told Ethereum second. So then they get told the price of that. And they're like, oh yeah, what if Ethereum goes to 100 grand per token or something like that, right? That's the mentality. I don't think people are actually looking under the hood and saying, okay, Ethereum has the better technology compared to Bitcoin. Maybe it does, but what about comparative to third place or fourth place or fifth or 10th place, right? So that's when we start to to lose people. It's just people want it simple and they just ask usually 1, 2, and 3, right? So with Ethereum being number 2, I think that makes a lot of sense. But let me know your thoughts and opinions on that as well. Like I said, Canada is set to launch world's first spot Solana ETF on April 16th. So again, the spot just means that when you buy the ETF from these brokers, the ETF issuer has to maintain actual Solana in the reserve, right? So they have to buy it and have those backed essentially by the underlying asset. So with a futures-based ETF, they don't actually have to hold anything in reserve. It's just based on future price, right? So you're just betting on the price either going to be higher or lower at a certain time. Also, Trump considers ban on congressional insider trading. We've been saying for a while now on this channel that this is something that could very well mark the top if they ban Congress and lawmakers from owning stocks and crypto. Well, there's no more reason to hold the markets up anymore, right? And we are experiencing the biggest bull market and boom ever. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a massive bust, just like the dot-com days in terms of percentage drawdown. Trump also says that the next crypto play basically could be a monopoly style crypto game that lets players roll, build, and earn. So we'll see what happens. That'd be pretty cool actually to see. The nostalgic part of me would love to try it, but we'll continue to take we'll keep an eye on this. But I wouldn't mind trying it out. It would be kind of fun. Not gonna lie, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Like if you can actually earn like real rewards and convert them into crypto, basically would be the idea there. Also, Fed Chair Jay Powell says that crypto is going mainstream. I don't think anybody doubted that, but bank rules are also being relaxed so that they can start to offer different activities with regards to crypto. So I think this is going to be huge, and Trump is also trying to see what he can do to get him fired. So we'll see what comes of that, seeing if he has the power to do that. The fact that they don't even know if they can do that or not is pretty astonishing, though. Also, NBA legend Scottie Pippen says that the largest alt season is set to start this week and could very well start today, April 20th. But he's saying essentially the week of this April 20th. So starting today and for the next week, he thinks that we could see the biggest alt season start to pick up. And I wouldn't disagree with that. I think it's going to be over the next few weeks into May. I think we're really going to start to see the altcoin market heat up, and we might see Bitcoin somewhere around 120, 140K, I think is the most likely scenario before the end of this bull market. But in terms of, that's only about 100% gain from here, right? But I think some of these crypto projects, some of these altcoins are going to see, 10x, 20x, maybe even more than that, which I think could be one of the biggest alt seasons on the horizon as well. Also, Texas House, and there's been a lot of different states trying to add some sort of crypto Bitcoin reserve or some sort of crypto bill with regards to like a stockpile. But Texas House to hear bill on strategic Bitcoin reserve with 500 million in annual Bitcoin purchases. Again, I hope it ends well. I don't like this. There was even a post from I think it was Wall Street Bets, who said, what if Satoshi, the creator of Bitcoin, is just basically waiting for all the U.S. government, right, states and the federal government, the executive branch, the Fed, Treasury, add it to all of those, get Bitcoin, buy it, or maybe not buy it, but seize it, whatever they do, stockpile it, however they come across it. And, different states start buying, $500 million worth of annual Bitcoin. What if the plan was, and this was what Wall Street Bet said, what if the plan was to get, all the countries, all of the US and the states and the government sucked into Bitcoin and then rug pull it? Oh, that wouldn't be good. So again, just be very, very cautious. I just have a bad feeling, and generally whenever I have a bad gut feeling, it's right. I would say probably 95% of the time. So we'll see what happens there. But last but not least, just in, Charles Schwab, CEO, confirms it will launch Bitcoin and crypto trading within 12 months. So love to see that. Again, we could very well see like a bear market at some point here and a top on Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto sector over the coming months. So, maybe this would be a next cycle play. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I still think there's going to be a lot of bullish momentum coming up over the next couple of months, but I would just be careful. I think, within the next 12 months, we're going to see more than likely a bear market begin before that happens. So just be very, very cautious. And I think we could see the bull market last perhaps into the summer. They're talking about getting stablecoin legislation done in the US before August recess. So at some point between now and the end of August. So we'll see what happens there. But I think they might stretch it into the end of the year. And then 2026 is probably not going to be a good year for especially crypto, blockchain, big tech, and AI. And then, yeah, I think, it might be 2026, 2027 by the time we start to bottom out and start a new bull market. But again, we've been in a 5-year bull market at this point. Nothing goes up forever. And we're starting to see more and more bullish news. Price is pretty stagnant at the moment. So we'll see. But as you can see, there's a lot happening in the background. I think we're going to get legislation. Once legislation happens, it's going to be lights out, in my opinion. There's going to be so much money flooding into this space. It's not even going to be funny. It's going to be just as important to know when to sell as well. It's going to be trying to turn everybody into a bull, a perma bull, and you're never going to want to sell. And somebody said, I can't remember who it was at one point, I saw not too long ago, when you're taking a picture of your portfolio and sending it to somebody, like when you're taking a screenshot of it, of the value of your account or showing somebody, it's probably not a bad idea to start taking some profit at that point. All right, going into there, I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. And again, happy 420 to those that celebrate. It's Rod with the Pow Group. Thanks again for joining us in the pursuit of wealth, and we'll see you again on the next video.